I find also very, very interesting. And for pound dollar, we have two things to deal with. First of all, investor style trades. We still have one trade running. We had two others. I closed them on the previous week, and of course I will looking to resell. But for the long term, we should start to pay attention to this bullish hit and divergence. This bullish hit and divergence can take the pound dollar all the way to the last high again or even higher. Would that happen during the current calendar year? I am doubtful, because you know what I always say about the pound dollar, right? The pound tends to create a high at the beginning of the year. It did a high during this year on January. So I am very doubtful it could take us to the same high again. It could take us closer, but I'm doubtful it could take us to 163.40. So we do need to pay attention to this bullish hit and divergence. As I said, it could take us to a double top around 162 or a bit higher. How we should join that? We should go for a 4-hour chart and confirm a bullish divergence there to go for a buy. Now, we did have a bullish divergence here, but is that a classical divergence? Definitely not. It's only histogram, while MACD moving average pushing really down. RSI does not create nothing. Stochastic does not create a clear divergence. It's not the best divergences we love to work with. Add the fact that it did break a head and shoulders pattern, and now retesting that, all that say that most likely it will continue lower. Now, interesting fact. So first of all, we do have the daily bullish hidden divergence, and we should still be prepared for the possibility the pound will, because of USA of course, will switch the sides and push it to the upside. If it does, that's what we want to happen. We want this trend line to break to the upside, and we want this range of resistances to break as well. That's in between 160 up to 160.20. We want it to break up, we want it to hold above, and only then it will be a good sign to jump in and to go for a buy, as I said, all the way to 162 plus, okay, the daily double top. And the protection will be of course below the last low. That's for a buy if this double scenario happens on a daily chart and a 4-hour chart combination. But as I just mentioned before, we had a head and shoulders on the 4-hour chart. Now it's retesting that. It is bouncing from the 4-hour chart trend line. Between the last two highs, it's a bearish hidden divergence. Again, classical? No, because stochastic is missing. But MACD histogram does create a bearish hidden divergence. Now, interesting fact, pound dollar inside the current cycle, as you can see, is making moves like that. Okay, so we could expect if it does the down move again, it could take us and should take us once again to this zone, which is very logical. There are many supports on the pound right there. There is a trend line waiting right there, you see, between these two lows. So very logical, that's what could happen. So the question is, how can we join the current expected cycle to the downside with a small protection? For that, we will need to drop for the 1-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart as well, we got a bearish divergence, we get the push to the downside, but we are in sensitive market, and it's better to do double confirm it. The double confirmation, from my point of view, will come with the break below this trend line and below this support, which it created right here around 159.58, 159.60. If it managed to break down and hold there, I believe the pound dollar well, first of all, the protection will be here, okay, above this last high. But then I believe the pound dollar can make the drop all the way to this zone. So stay tuned for that. Pound dollar might begin its drop to the downside, and it might be very nice sell. So we have two scenarios to happen: buy and sell, And we have two ways to trade it. For the buy, we remember the 4-hour chart trend line and the resistance, right? And for the short term, we have the 1-hour chart flag. By the way, this flag, you see, it's pretty much on the same size as the previous one. See that? Pretty much on the same size. So a breakdown could cause a beautiful continuation for the current bearish cycle we are experiencing. Questions regarding the pound dollar? I know I explained a lot here, so if you have any question, please don't hesitate, ask now. This is the 200 moving average, correct? But the daily 200 moving is all the way to the bottom. Well, yes, that's another kind of another confirmation, right? If this 200 moving average does break, that's pretty cool. Another interesting fact, if you go and test on the back, of course on the history, interesting fact on the 200 moving average. If it holds 3 times on the 3rd time or on the 4th time, it tends to break. It did retest it once, it did retest twice, it is on the 3rd time now. This is another interesting fact that it is coming to the break point. On the 3rd or the 4th spot and retest the point, it tends to break. And I agree with you, Grohan. It's pretty interesting. Again, technical things could show clear sell, but we are now on the most critical days, probably on the last months, especially to USA. We see how sensitive the market behaves. We see all the range, we see all the zigzags, so we have to respect it. All right, let's continue. The next two things are for a bit longer run. Most likely these opportunities will not be today, but still something very important to mention, as we are going to talk about it many times on the